Welcome to History Decoded, the channel where we unravel the past to reveal the people and events that shaped our world. In today's episode, we're diving into the stories of America's most extraordinary individuals, those whose courage and vision left an indelible mark on history. We're counting down the top 5 greatest heroes in American history. These are the people whose actions forever changed the course of the nation and inspired generations to come. Let's explore their stories. Martin Luther King Jr. At number 5, we have the legendary civil rights leader, Martin Luther King Jr. Born in 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia, King became the face of the civil rights movement in the 1950s and 60s. His message was one of equality, nonviolent resistance, and a peaceful struggle against the injustice of segregation and racism. King believed that love and understanding were more powerful than hate, and he was determined to show the world that change could be achieved without violence. One of his most memorable moments came on August 28, 1963, when he delivered his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech at the March on Washington. Standing in front of the Lincoln Memorial, King spoke of a future where people would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. His words struck a chord with millions, both in America and around the world. King's leadership helped achieve significant legislative changes, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which ended legal segregation and ensured voting rights for African Americans. Despite facing constant death threats, arrests, and physical violence, King remained steadfast in his belief in nonviolence. Tragically, he was assassinated in 1968, but his legacy continues to inspire movements for equality and justice globally. He's a hero not only for his own time, but for all time. Susan B. Anthony. At number 4 is Susan B. Anthony, one of the most influential women in American history. Born in 1820, Anthony dedicated her life to the fight for women's suffrage. In the mid-19th century, women had little legal or political standing in America. They couldn't vote, own property in their own name, or even speak in public without facing social backlash. Anthony refused to accept this and made it her life's mission to secure equal rights for women. In 1872, Anthony was famously arrested for illegally voting in the presidential election. She used her trial to argue that women were just as entitled to vote as men, asserting that the 14th Amendment, which guarantees equal protection under the law, applied to women as well. Her defiant stance and lifelong dedication to the cause made her a national symbol of women's rights. Anthony also worked closely with Elizabeth Cady Stanton and co-founded the National Woman Suffrage Association, one of the most influential groups in the suffrage movement. Although she didn't live to see it, her tireless work laid the foundation for the passage of the 19th Amendment in 1920, which finally granted women the right to vote. Her unyielding spirit and her contributions to gender equality make her one of the greatest heroes in American history. Abraham Lincoln. Next, at number 3, we have Abraham Lincoln, one of America's most revered presidents. Lincoln was born in 1809 in a humble log cabin in Kentucky, and he rose to become the 16th President of the United States. His leadership during the Civil War is what cemented his place as one of America's greatest heroes. Faced with the challenge of keeping a divided nation together, Lincoln's resolve never wavered. One of his most significant acts was the issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. This executive order declared that all enslaved people in the Confederate States were to be freed, a decision that shifted the moral compass of the war and turned it into a fight for human freedom. Although Lincoln's main goal was to preserve the Union, he understood that slavery was a profound moral wrong, and he took bold steps to ensure its abolition. Lincoln's presidency was marked by immense personal and political challenges, including constant criticism, military setbacks, and deep national division. Despite these struggles, his leadership never faltered. In his second inaugural address, delivered just weeks before his assassination, Lincoln called for a future of healing and reconciliation with malice toward none, with charity for all. Tragically, Lincoln was assassinated in 1865, just days after the Union's victory in the Civil War. However, his legacy as the savior of the Union and the president who ended slavery remains firmly intact, making him one of America's greatest leaders. George Washington. At number 2, we have George Washington, the father of the nation. Born in 1732, Washington played a crucial role in the founding of the United States, both as a military leader and as the nation's first president. Washington first rose to prominence during the American Revolutionary War, where he served as the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. Despite facing overwhelming odds, Washington's leadership was instrumental in securing victory over the British and achieving American independence. One of Washington's most significant moments came during the winter of 1777 to 1778 at Valley Forge. Facing bitter cold, starvation, and dwindling morale, Washington's leadership kept the army together through one of its darkest periods. His ability to inspire loyalty and perseverance in the face of adversity is a testament to his enduring greatness. After the war, Washington was unanimously elected as the first president of the United States. He helped shape the very framework of the new nation, establishing key precedents, such as the peaceful transfer of power and the importance of a strong yet limited government. Perhaps his greatest act was voluntarily stepping down after 2 terms in office, solidifying the democratic principle that no one should hold too much power for too long. His humility and commitment to the principles of liberty and democracy have made him a symbol of leadership and integrity for generations of Americans. Harriet Tubman. And finally, our #1 hero is Harriet Tubman, the woman who led hundreds of enslaved people to freedom. Born into slavery in the early 1820s, Tubman escaped to freedom herself in 1849. But instead of staying safe, she made the dangerous decision to return south multiple times, helping to guide others to freedom via the Underground Railroad. Tubman risked her life countless times, evading capture and punishment, which would have meant torture or death. Her bravery and determination earned her the nickname Moses, as she led others out of the bondage of slavery, just as Moses led his people out of Egypt. Tubman's heroism didn't stop with the Underground Railroad. During the Civil War, she served as a nurse, a scout, and a spy for the Union Army. She was the first woman to lead an armed expedition during the war, guiding a raid that freed more than 700 enslaved people. Tubman's life was one of service, sacrifice, and unyielding courage. Her contributions to the cause of freedom and her relentless fight for justice make her not only a hero of American history, but a global symbol of courage and human rights. These 5 heroes helped shape the course of American history through their bravery, leadership, and commitment to justice. Their legacies continue to inspire movements for equality, liberty, and progress. Who do you think are the greatest heroes in American history? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay tuned for more fascinating stories from History Decoded. Thanks for watching.